Good morning students. Today we are going to see in history unit 2 emergence of new kingdoms in North India. So how the new kingdoms came into existence in North India. Rajput. Rajput states formed collective entity that was called Rajputana. So all the states of the Rajput kingdom were collectively called as Rajputana. Chittur was the prominent head of all the Rajput clans. So for example, as we are saying now for Tamil Nadu, Chennai is the capital. The same way, the Chittur was the capital for Rajputs. The Pratihara and the Palas had established their powerful kingdoms in western India and in eastern India respectively. So Pratiharas and Palas, their major kingdom was in the western and in eastern India. The decline of Pratihara kingdom led to the rise of Palas in Bengal and Chauhans in northwestern. So after the decline of Pratihara, the Palas began to rise and occupied the Bengal and Chauhans in northwestern. Origin of the Rajputs. So origin is nothing but starting, where the Rajput have got started, the kingdom. Word Rajput is derived from Sanskrit word Rajputra. So it is derived from a Sanskrit word Rajaputra, which means scion of the royal blood. So scion of the royal blood. The meaning itself says it is a royal blood. Three principal houses of Rajputs are Suryavanshi, the race of the sun, and Chandravanshi, the race of the moon, and Agnikula, the race of fire god. These are the three principal houses of the Rajputs. Next, among the things, the Pratihara, the Chauhan, the Chalukyas, known as Solankis, So the Pratihara, the Chauhan, the Chalukyas, known as Solankis. The next we are going to see is Pratiharas. So the Pratiharas, also called as Gujarat. So their origin starts from Gujarat. They ruled Gujarat. Nagabhatta I was the first and prominent ruler of Pratiharas. So Nagabhatta I was the first and prominent rulers of Pratihara. So in 8th century, he ruled over Jodhpur and extended his domain up to Gwalior. So till before 8th century, their kingdom was up to Jodhpur, and after 8th century, he extended the thing up to Gwalior. So having a successful resistance, the Pratihara turned their attention towards the east, and by the end of millennium, they ruled over a large part of Rajasthan and Malwa. So the Pratihara ruled over the decades, and after a millennium, they ruled over large part of Rajasthan and Malwa. We are going to see is Dharmapala. Gopala, who founded the Pala dynasty, did not have royal antecedents. So they do not have any followers like their ancestors or their grandfather, grandmother. From there they didn't start their kingdom. So the first ruler to found the Pala dynasty was Gopala. He was elected by the people for his superior capabilities. So he was elected by the people. And next, Dharmapala, his son, made the Pala kingdom a powerful force in northern India. So his son Dharmapala made the Pala kingdom a powerful force in northern India, and he led a successful campaign against Kanuj. So he fighted against and he led a campaign against Kanuj. Dharmapala was succeeded by his son Devapala. Devapala was a great patron of Buddhism. So he liked the principles of Buddhism. For this, he gifted 5 villages to Buddhists. Mahipala I. Mahipala I was the most powerful ruler of the Pala dynasty. He is called the founder of the second Pala dynasty. The Pala dynasty declined soon after the death of Mahipala and gave way to the Sena dynasty. Next we are going to see is the Chauhans. The Chauhans ruled between AD 956 and 1192 over the eastern parts of the present day Rajasthan. So they ruled over the eastern part of Rajasthan. Rajput dynasty was founded by Simharaji, who was popularly known as the founder of the city of Ajmer. So the Rajput dynasty was founded by Simharaji, who was popularly known as the founder of city of Ajmer. So he was the person who founded the city of Ajmer. The Chauhans were the feudatories of the Pratiharas. So from the Pratiharas only the Chauhans had established their dynasty. The last of Chauhan kings was Prithviraj Chauhan. Prithviraj Chauhan. He defeated Muhammad Ghori, the first battle of Tarain fought in 1191. So Prithviraj Chauhan defeated Muhammad Ghori in the first battle of Tarain. Next thing we are going to see is how the contribution of Rajputs towards art and architecture. So Rajput courts were center of cultures where literature, music, dance, painting, fine art and sculptures flourished. So during his periods, the culture, music, fine arts, everything have been cherished. A specific style of Rajput painting often can be seen in the Rajput courts. Their style of painting, so the Rajput style of painting is called Rajasthani. The Rajasthani style of paintings can be seen at Bikaner, Jodhpur, Mewar, Jaisalmer and all in Rajasthan places. Next thing we are going to see is architecture. The Rajput were great builders. So they were great builders. Some of the important examples of the Rajput building are the strong fortress of Chittorgarh, Ranthambore and Kumbhalgarh all in Rajasthan. So these buildings depict the Rajput places and how they ruled and what and all the success they had made and their artings, paintings, music, dance and the sculptures were being depicted in the building. Many of the Rajput cities and places stand among the hill in forts or by the side of beautiful artificial lakes. So they stand among the hills, in between the hills and in front of a beautiful artificial lakes. So some of the forts are Chittorgarh, Ranthambore, Kumbhalgarh. The temples of Rajput rules built have won the admiration of art critics. The temples in Khajura, the Sun Temple in Konark, the Dilwara Temple constructed in Mount Abu and the Kandaraya Temple at Madhya Pradesh are illustrious example for their architecture. So what and all the temples we can see for the examples of architecture of Rajputs are Khajura Temple, the Sun Temple at Konark, Dilwara Jain Temple and the Kandaraya Temple at Madhya Pradesh. So there are 16 Hindu and Jain temples at Ocean, which is 32 miles away from the Jodhpur. The Jain temple at Mount Abu has a white marble and a central dome of 11 concentric rings and richly carved valuted ceiling and pillars. So the Jain temple at Mount Abu is built with a white marble and it has 11 concentric rings and richly carved vaulted ceiling and pillars. The Jain temple at Mount Abu has a white marble and a central dome of 11 concentric rings and richly carved valuted ceiling and pillars. So the Jain temple at Mount Abu is built with a white marble and it has 11 concentric rings and richly carved vaulted ceiling and pillars. Next thing we are going to see is contribution of Palas, how Palas have contributed to develop their culture. So the famous universities of Nalanda. So Buddhist famous university is it Nalanda and Vikramashila. So the Palas followed the principles of Buddhism. The Pala also maintained cordial relation with the Hindu-Buddhist state of the Sailendras of Sumatra and Java. So the Pala maintained a good relationship with the Hindu-Buddhist state like Shailendras of Sumatra and Java. Under Pala patronage, a distinctive school of art arose called Pala art or Eastern Indian art. So from there they developed a art called Pala art or Eastern India art. Pala artistic style flourished in present day of Bihar and West Bengal and also in present day of Bangladesh. The next thing we are going to see is advent of Islam. So after all these kingdoms, how the Islam gave rise into the existence. Islam as a religious faith originated at Mecca in Arabia. So its origination point is at Mecca in Arabia. The founder of Islam was Prophet Muhammad. So who was the founder of Islam? Prophet Muhammad. The follower of Islam are called Muslims. Islam were called Muslims. So an Islamic state, especially the one ruled by a single religious and political leader, was known as caliphate. So for example, if a single state is ruled over a particular religion and that particular leader was known as caliphate. Two early caliphates were Umayyads and Abbasids. So the two early caliphates were Umayyad and Abbasids. So in the 8th century India, the Arab presence appeared in the form of Muslim army that conquered the Sindh. So in the 8th century, the Muslim came into existence in India by the force of the Sindh. Muhammad of Ghazni. So Muhammad is said to have conducted 17 raids into India. So he have made 17 raids in India. The other important kingdoms in which he have extended are Kanuj, Gujarat, Kashmir, Nepal, Malwa and Bundelkhand. After his defeat, Jayapala immolated himself because he thought this defeat was a disgrace. So he degraded himself because the defeat was a disgrace. In 1011, he raided Nagarkot in Punjab Hills and Thaneshwar near Delhi. So Muhammad of Ghazni made 17 raids and in 1011 he raided Nagarkot in Punjab Hills and Thaneshwar near Delhi. In 1018, Muhammad plundered the holy city of Madura. So he also attacked Madura in 1018. He also attacked Kanuj. Muhammad is said to have sacked the famous temple of Somnath. So he also made an attack over the famous temple of Somnath. The Ghaznavid Empire roughly included Persia, Transoxania, Afghanistan and Punjab. So the Ghazni extended his empire roughly that includes Persia, Transoxania, Afghanistan. Muhammad of Ghor. Muhammad of Ghor or Muhammad Ghori started a vassal of Ghazni but became independent after the death of Muhammad. So after the death of Muhammad, Muhammad Ghor take advantage and he extended the Ghaznavid Empire. Muhammad Ghori brought Ghazni under his control. So after the death of Ghazni, he brought the control under him. So Muhammad turned his attention towards India until he ruled over the part of Punjab, Persia and Afghanistan. In 1175, Muhammad captured Multan and occupied whole of it in subsequent expedition. The Battle of Tarain. So Muhammad Ghori was defeated by Prithviraj Chauhan in the Battle of Tarain near Delhi in 1191. So why the battle took place means Muhammad Ghori sent a message to Prithviraj asking him to acknowledge his supremacy and become a Muslim. But Prithviraja rejected the proposal and separated his army to resist the invader. Many Hindu kings and chieftains also joined him. So this was the reason for the first battle of Tarain. So the second battle of Tarain was a major disaster for the Rajputs. So it was a major disaster for the Rajputs. Muhammad returned to Ghazni to deal with the threat from the Turks and the Mongols. So after the death of Muhammad Ghori in 1026, his most capable general Qutbuddin Aibak, who had been left behind India, took control of Muhammad territories in India and declared himself as the first Sultan of Delhi. So after the death of Muhammad Ghori, Qutbuddin Aibak took the controls of Muhammad territories and he became the first Sultan of Delhi, and he declared himself as the first Sultan of Delhi.